What could be worse than a poisonous snake which kills hundreds of people a year? That's right, thousands of hungry predators which were specially brought to her fight. A crazy story about how Japan tried to solve a deadly problem and eventually created the new is even more catastrophic. How this epic battle between man and nature and why sometimes it is better not to interfere in the natural balance, let's figure it out together. Imagine for themselves Japanese islands in the 70s years of the XX century. Tropical paradise's snow-white beaches and emerald the jungle hid a mortal danger. In thick vegetation Okinawa and Asimi lived the snakes of Haba, real killers up to 1.5 meters long. These yellow-green creatures with thermocrats instead of eyes, they turned the life of local residents in a permanent lottery with death. The numbers spoke for themselves. In 1980 about 400 people were bitten by Haba and some of them could not survive meeting with these reptiles. Antidote did not exist for a long time, and when he finally appeared to get him it is extremely difficult. The hospitals were crowded injured, and the inhabitants were afraid to go out from houses after sunset. Haba is not easy, they bit them terrorized the whole settlements. These night hunters are fine-climbed trees and could appear where most. Their heat-sensitive holes between nostrils and eyes allowed to see heat the human body in complete darkness. Imagine the horror of a peasant who at night it goes to check your garden and suddenly understands that invisible is watching him predator. Local beliefs only warm up. According to Japanese snake traditions were considered reincarnation dead people and killing them was a big sin. When Haba crawled into the garden residents did not dare to touch her, but only sang special songs and prayed to the snake she left herself. This attitude was maintained in some areas until recently. What did the fight against dangerous reptiles are almost impossible. And then the Japanese authorities remembered the legendary mongoose from the fairy tale of Kipling. Mongoose is a small fearless warrior, who is not afraid of snake poison and specializes in hunting for these dangerous creatures. Nature seemed I myself prompted the solution to the problem. After all, mongoose have already been successfully used in other countries to combat toxic snakes. In 1979 year on the island of Asimi, they brought 30 small Indian mongoose. These brisk predators, no more than a cat long, should have become the saviors of Japanese islands. The authorities were sure that soon the problem of snakes will be solved by itself. After all, mongoose were famous for their ability to win even a cobra in an honest battle. But nature has always turned out to be more cunning human plans. The first problem revealed almost immediately. Mongoose lead a daily lifestyle, wake up with sunrise and fall asleep with twilight. And the snakes are Hub on the contrary, they are active exclusively at night. It turned out like in a joke, two enemies live on the same island, but never meet. While scientists scratched the heads, mongoose did not lose time for nothing. These the voracious predators quickly found that the island is much more affordable and tasty production. For what risk your life fighting with poisonous snakes when defenseless run-around rabbits of birds and lizards? Mongoose logic was iron, but for the ecosystem of the island it became a disaster. Especially local rabbits suffered, unique creatures that live only on the islands of Japan. These ancient animals, the survivors of the Ice Age, were completely defenseless before new predators. For several years there the number decreased by 80%. Imagine from every 10 rabbits in only 2 remained alive. Mongoose propagated at cosmic speed. If in the 79th year to the island they brought 30 individuals, by 2000 of them it has already become 10,000. This is a real demographic explosion. Each female mongoose could bring offspore several times a year. And at lack of natural enemies, population grew in geometric progression. Island turned into a battlefield between aboriginal species and invaders. Mongoose hunted not only rabbits, but also on jacks, frogs, lizards and others representatives of the unique fauna of the island Osum. Some species were on the verge complete disappearance. Ecosystem formed for millennia collapsed before our eyes for some 20 years. But what snakes Haba? Their number is practically not change. Mongoose and snakes continued live in parallel lives, rarely intersecting with each other. Haba annually about 300 people were still biting. The problem has not gone anywhere. It turned out that the Japanese not only did not solve the original task, but also created many new problems. The situation became critical to scientists scored the end of the 90s anxiety when they understood the scale environmental disaster. Amami Island Asima is included in the list of World UNESCO's heritage as a unique ecosystem. And here are whole species of animals, they disappeared one by one. It was necessary urgent something to do, otherwise from the pristine nature of the island is nothing it would remain. In 2000, The government has launched a large-scale operation on the extermination of mongooses. There was a real war against the invasive species. 30,000 were installed on the island traps, created special detachments hunters, even set up the first in the country. The dog's bloodhound is trained to search mongoose. Battle of saving the ecosystem. It has begun. Gradually the number mongoose began to decline. By 2007 there are about 1,000 individuals left them. Traps. We worked day and night. Hunters combed every corner of the island. Automatically fixed the camera's movement in the jungle. Mongooses fell into real siege and their life the space was compressed. Last mongoose was caught in April 2018. After that, more than 6 years passed without a single meeting with these animals. Cameras. The observations were silent, the traps were empty. Only in 2024 the Japanese Ministry Environmental Protection officially declared the island of Amami-Asima completely free from mongoose. In total over the years operations were deployed about 32,000 mongoose. Out of 30 imported individuals a whole army of invaders has grown, which I had to destroy for decades. This one of the largest cases in the world. When it was possible to completely eradicate for a long time the spread invasive view of such a large island, the nature of the beginning recover almost immediately, and mom's rabbits began to notice more often on the surveillance cameras. Their numbers gradually grows. The birds returned which have not been seen for years. The frogs again sang in the night jungle. The island ecosystem is slowly but true returns to his pristine state. But the story is not ends. Mongoose still live on the northern part of the island Okinawa, where the similar operation on their extermination. Specialists have accumulated experience on Amami-Asima now apply their knowledge in the new battle. War between man and consequences. His own mistakes continue. This history has become a classic example of that how good intentions can lead to environmental disaster. An attempt to solve a dozen new ones created one problem much more serious. Natural ecosystems are so complex and interconnected that any intervention it may have unpredictable consequences. Today, Japanese scientists continue monitoring, and the mother of Asima with the help automatic cameras finished immediately react if the mongoose the way will appear on the island again. And snakes Kabu both bit people and continue biting, reminding that some problems cannot be solved by a simple delivery predators. The lesson is learned by a road, but that was worth it. Japan spent billions yen in a quarter century to correct the same as a mistake. But it all started with a noble goal to save people from poisonous bites. Nature does not forgive frivolous decisions. She takes revenge cruelly and for a long time. Thank you for watching to the end. We wish you health and all the best.